Whew. And with my daughter, with our middle child, you know, we knew we were going to have a girl, and the delivery day came, and we induced as well. You know, we had it scheduled, went in the night before, and the Pitocin and all that stuff was going on or whatever. Late the next afternoon, all the families in the waiting room, all this stuff. Well, before I was born, my parents knew that they were pregnant with me. The name they had picked out for me, if I was going to be a girl, jury's still out, by the way, I felt that coming, was going to be Megan Grace, right? Okay, So my mother's grandmother's name was Grace. Megan, she just loved the name Megan. I ended up being Matt, obviously. But, you know, baby's born, mom's healthy, everybody's okay, they're stitching up things and putting things back where they're supposed to go or whatever. Everything's cool, and I come out through the big old double delivery doors. I'm sure there was doves flying and there's smoke billowing, you know, one of those scenes, right? And I look at my mom, and she's just like, oh, you know, waiting with bated breath. I'm like, Megan Grace is here. She's healthy. Oh, and the waterfalls.
Oh, did you win some brownie points with Mama on that one?
Tons and tons.
Oh,
I made up for some of all the bullshit I put my parents through for decades. You know?
Like you act like you've stopped.
Well, I haven't really, but you know, a lot of cool things that happen, you know, on those delivery days, and friends that show up, you know, and give you support. And I had a couple friends that showed up when Aiden was born in the middle of the night, full on tuxedo, evening gown thing. They left this whole gala to come, you know, hang out with us and support us. And Cody and Abby, if you're listening, which you probably aren't, love you to death, and thank you so much. I'll never forget that, you know. But you know, it's interesting, the people that show up, you know, when you're expanding your family, because that's such a big deal. It means a lot. It means a lot, you know. So a lot of great pregnancy day stories, you know. Now, I do have a just after a pregnancy day story relating to Harleys, which I feel as though I need to share. Okay. And I think you know this story.
I do know this one.
So as we mentioned before, and you'll hear it many, many times, Andy and I are big motorcycle guys. We love it. Mostly weekend warriors these days, because, you know, we work and
we're 99 percenters.
99 percenters, that's for sure. You taught me off there a little bit. Oh, no, that's not good. At any rate, so I've been following the bike that I have now, actually the same bike I have today. I've been following a Street Glide, Harley-Davidson Street Glide, on eBay, different models or whatever. Not different models, but different bikes on eBay for a while, just kind of getting a sense for cost and whatever, right? So we're pregnant with our second child, and we're scheduling this delivery for the next day or whatever it was. And I had been talking with this guy, or I should say, excuse me, I've been following this eBay auction, and this bike, which is my bike today, the auction closed because the reserve price wasn't met, right? So I'm messaging the guy, hey, listen, what's your bottom barrel price? Why are you selling it? All those kind of questions. Low mileage vehicle, newer vehicle at the time.
Because you were in love.
Oh, I was in love with that bike. Still am. It's my baby. So at any rate, so I tell him, listen, we're literally going into the hospital. Literally walking in the hospital. Is there any way you can just time out, cool your heels, hold off for like 24, 48 hours. Let me talk to my wife after the baby's been born, and everybody's happy. Oh, it gets worse, folks. It gets worse. It's funny now to me, probably not to my ex-wife, but at any rate, the kids think it's funny. So baby comes out, Megan's here, everybody's happy, healthy, whatever. I had put together a PowerPoint because that's what I do. And we're in the hospital room, baby's being swaddled, breastfeeding, I'm sure, or whatever the case may be at the time. She's in the delivery bed post-birth, right? Things are messed up. Exactly, right? You know, there's healing that's not even really started yet. Poor thing. It looked painful. At any rate, and I say, hey, before we leave,
Did I mention
we're not married anymore?
I'd like to share a PowerPoint with you.
That's exactly what I did. I'd like to share
at the hospital
a PowerPoint with you
post-delivery.
Hours after our daughter has been born and you have been ripped open like a canoe and put back together, I want to talk to you about a toy I'd like to buy. Here is the acquisition plan, finance plan, the whole thing.
The following is based on a true story.
It is absolutely based on a very, very true story. And 2 weeks later, I fly down to Jackson, Mississippi with my helmet as my carry-on, and they call it a tea bag. It's a piece of luggage for a motorcycle, as my checked bag, one-way ticket with a cashier's check from my bank in my pocket, and I drove home with my Harley, and I still have it to this day.
You rode home. I'm going to correct you on that.
I did what?
You rode home.
I did. What did I say?
You drove home.
Rode home. Excuse me. You don't drive a Harley. You ride a Harley.
Get the proper vernacular.
Okay. All right. Well, my bad. But that is my pregnancy.
I still cannot believe you busted out a PowerPoint.
I did. I've got it
hospital.
somewhere. I've got it somewhere on a Rogue Thumb drive somewhere. I've got to find it.
We've got it. We have to see that.
We have to see it.
Yeah.
I'll find it somewhere. Surely my ex doesn't have a copy because I'm sure she burned it with all my pictures. But
so when my daughter was due to be born a couple of years after the last story with my dad's, I'll be damned. We had false labor with Hunter like multiple times. We go to the hospital, check us, send us home. False labor, go to the hospital, check, send us home. I mean, it went on and on and on. So what's to be any different with number two? With the next
you assume it's going to be the same kind of situation.
Absolutely.
It's not.
No, not all pregnancies are the same.
Nope.
So I'm fishing at the pond one day, and the house is about a quarter mile from the pond, and I'm fishing, and she's yelling down, I think I'm having contractions. I'm having contractions. I'm like, okay. I keep fishing. And asshole me, I made a lap all the way around the entire pond and she will verify it to this day. We actually talked. We're fine now. That she will confirm the story that I was so used to what I had gone through in the past with several trips there and several trips being sent home. I finished my lap all the way around the pond, and I get to the house to find her on top of one of those birthing balls, like just rocking back and forth and breathing like a mad person. So I start timing the contractions that she's having. And I'm like, okay, yeah, these are real. Like, I think we're like in a thing here. So we load up and we get to the car. So the only thing I could find as we're going out the door was like somebody had just delivered the skinny phone book, the one like for the city, not the small one for like the local
phone book.
Yeah, our kids have no idea what that is. Yeah.
Okay.
In a pen. And I'm writing down times on the cover of this phone book as we're going to the hospital.
One Mississippi.
Yeah.
Two
So she and I are timing them together. We're writing them on this phone book, driving to the hospital. So we get to the hospital, pull into like the little drive-through lane, the drop-off lane. Pull up there, get out.
Is that how that works?
Take her inside. They put her in a chair. They take her back. I go back out to the car. I get in the car. I go to the parking lot, come back inside. And from the time I dropped her off and they put her in a wheelchair until the time I went to the parking lot, parked the car, got back inside, water broke. And like within, like Emma was born, I don't know exactly. We got there. It was just getting dark when we got there. Emma was born before midnight. So there were no false alarms. So actually,
that was quick.
I could have maybe gone around the pond one more time. They were biting topwater that night. I mean, there was a lot of activity.
I'd say, thank God you had your priorities straight, but here I was trying to buy a freaking Harley.
I was going to say, I didn't have time to create a PowerPoint.
Here's why I want to go around the pond one more time. The crappie are hitting. Oh my goodness! So
that's good times.
Some good delivery day stories for sure. What a game changer and a lot of fun and the things you learn too, and the things that we've forgotten about since, like all the baby bottle crap. Well, now you're in granddad stage. No, I was going to tell you.
So it's kind of funny because I don't watch him a lot. I've watched him some.
Yeah.
I don't watch him a lot alone. Like one of the first times that I watched him, he was only a few months old. They had to go somewhere for an afternoon.
Now, you know that when you have young grandchildren, they're not supposed to help you take shots of brown liquor, too.
Well, but it helps it helps Papa.
It does help Papa.
Yeah.
Right.
So he's here. I don't know exactly how old he was at the time. My mom I was like, you should come hang out with me while I watch him by myself.
Make sure I keep him alive.
Dude, I was so paranoid the entire time that he was here. Like, it was like, are you breathing? Are you choking on this? Did I get the diaper on? I don't know how many times I flipped his first diaper around, I bet 10 times, thinking that I had it on the wrong way. And then I remembered, okay, the straps are in the back piece. They come up to the front. So then I knew I had that right. But it was like, man, I told my mom, I was like, I do not remember being 29 years old and being this frazzled or being this worried or being this, and she goes, that's why God has us have kids when we're younger and we're too dumb to know any better instead of when we're older and we actually have the maturity enough to know that things bad can happen. And I remember I'd finished feeding him and I'm sitting there with him on the couch and I'd burped him and he's kind of laying there like in his little milk coma.
Right. As we tend to do sometimes.
And I'm kind of like shaking him, trying to, are you still breathing?
Yeah, boy.
I don't want.
You're not supposed to do that.
I don't want my kid. Well, I'm not like shaking baby syndrome shaking.
Oh.
Like just like give me some sign of life that that everything's okay. It's like last thing I need. I broke your baby.
Right.
I don't want you to come home.
Right.
I broke your baby.
Well, it is your lineage, so I mean, it's kind of given there to be a little bit.
It's okay. It's okay.
It's okay. Yeah. So paybacks, right? So we're talking a little bit about, I think we've all heard that, your kids or how you were as a teenager or child is what you can expect, when you have your own. And I will just say up front, I was worried that was true.
Yeah, and you were saying you can expect that to be a payback. My mom, like totally laid it down on me that I hope your kids do what you did. I keep thinking about who's the guy that's in the Ricky Bobby, and they're in the hospital, and he's like, "Don't you lay that shit down on me, Ricky Bobby! Don't you lay that shit down on me, boy!" It's like, yeah,
Gary Cole.
No, that's his
That's
dad.
the dad.
I'm talking about it's the black guy that's their lead, their pit crew leader.
Oh, the guy from Green Duncan or Michael Clark.
Green Mile guy.
That guy. Yeah.
Don't you lay that shit down on me, Ricky Bobby. Don't you put that shit on me. Don't you?
Right?
Yeah, my mom was like putting that shit down on me. She's like, "Oh, your day's coming."
Same.
From the things that I did, I was never on time. I was never where I was supposed to be or said I was going to be. Mm-hmm. I was never. You couldn't trust anything that I said when I was a teenager because I was not going to do whatever.
I promise I'm at church group, Dad and Mom.
Well, I don't think.
Amen.
I ever said that, but
hallelujah. God be the glory. No, I'm not. I'm hanging out with my girlfriend somewhere and behind a. I'd have
been in a lot better shape if that's where I'd been.
Oh, for sure. Mm-hmm. Yeah, no doubt about that one. Yeah, payback's definitely. That had me worried. I was not a great teenager, but we've both been so lucky. So lucky. I mean, my kids, I know your kids, you're so blessed. You got 3 great kids, none of them have become hookers or strip club dancing people, even Hunter,
Hunter. He likes the pole.
Well, that's different. That's a different episode too. But what I'm getting after is,
he's going to be pissed.
Oh, he's going to be so pissed. So pissed off. Right. It's whatever. It is what it is. This is for fun. But yeah, we've been really lucky, and there's a lot of folks out there that definitely have challenging situations and challenging kids. And it's actually kind of funny because even from a young age with my kids, we'd be out at like a restaurant, maybe just me and my 3 kids after my divorce or whatever. And they'd see some other little kid just act up and just be a little shit or whatever to his parents. And instead of the kids like making some comment around how the kid was justified in acting up or no, he really did want another cookie or something, they're like parenting. Like, absolutely. It's so much about parenting. It really is too, it's just funny because I'm just blessed. We're both blessed. We got great kids. They're outgoing. They're smart.
I used to ask my kids, there was 2 things. If we were out in public, it was like, do you want me to take you to the bathroom? Or do you want me to light it up? Those were the key words, man. And 9 times out of 10, they straightened up pretty damn quick.
Yeah. So we did something right along the way. We think, at least, right? So what are some like things we've learned from our dads? Like, what are some things that you learned from your dad that?
Like I said earlier, my dad was really gruff. So I was brought up in a household where it was guys don't share feelings, guys don't share emotions. Guys are, that's a sign of weakness.
Yeah.
You do not do that. And my dad was not one of those guys. He wasn't going to tell you. You weren't going to hear "I love you" a lot coming out of his mouth. You knew he did.
Sure.
Because the way that he expressed that was by getting his ass up early every single day and going and working every single day,
family,
and staying as late as he had to stay and working as many hours as he had to, and doing things for us, helping us do things like around our houses. That was his way of his acts of service. Okay, that was his love language.
Yeah,
I guess you would
absolutely.
say. But that also taught me too that I don't want my kids to be able to say that about me.
Mm-hmm.
I want my kids not only by my actions, but I want them to know. And still, even to this day, my kids are in their 20s. Dominic's 31 now. But I tell my kids I love them, and they tell me the same thing back. And that's never even been they've never even had an issue saying that in front of their friends, which has been, most kids when they get into high school, it's like, don't say,
Right.
My kids, man, I've said it to them in front of their friends. They say it back to me in front of their friends. What's funny is never heard, unless they've said it to my kids individually, never heard any of those other kids, friends of my kids, give them any crap for that.
No way.
So, but yeah, I want my kids to know. I want them to know. I want to, we don't know. Just like my dad. My dad's been, we found out on the 8th of December he had cancer and he passed away on the 18th. That's 10 days.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
What was he afflicted with? What kind of cancer?
It was everywhere.
It was
all
all over the place.
Yeah,
Let me guess, never went to the doctor?
I never really had any symptom of it. It just all of a sudden it just got to the point where I'm saying he never had any symptom of it. I'm sure there were symptoms of it. And as we look back at it now, you start to see things that have started to probably deteriorate a little bit. But yeah, I took him to the emergency room on the 8th of December, and he passed away on the 18th. So, it was 10 days.
Say that part over again about you took him.
Yeah, so I took him to the emergency room on the 8th of December, and he passed away on the 18th. So it was 8 days. So you don't know. I never thought they had Thanksgiving at my house. A week later, I'm taking him to the emergency room, and before Christmas, he's gone.
He's gone.
So you don't know. You don't know. Yeah, you have to be able to, So if your dad's still around, call him this weekend. Go see him this weekend, and because you don't know, you're not promised. This
you
may
never
not
know.
be another Father's Day.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I appreciate you sharing that. That's rough, And fortunately, my dad's still here, and I don't know if my mom would share that same sentiment. But my dad, he cracks my ass up. That is a stoic guy.
Mm-hmm.
That guy will tell you what time it is, and you will listen. But here's what's I love about my mom and my dad. My mom grew up in a household where "I love you" was the mantra. It was just, you could tell my aunts and my uncle. My uncle was still around, and my grandparents, love, constant love. Like, it was just a thing, right? My dad, I may be speaking out of turn for him, but, I think he's told me before he doesn't recall his own mother ever saying "I love you." Now, that's generational to some degree,
sure.
And it's small town USA, and they're very blue collar, which is great, whatever. But love doesn't have a socioeconomic, brush, right? Love should be all across the board. And I know that when he met my mom, that was probably a game changer for him. I have to imagine, because she just is a very loving woman, and he has learned that love is great, and I've sold my dad short, on his ability to love, I think, over the years, and made assumptions, as we all do, about things, but he's a very loving man. He's amazing to my children, to my niece and nephew, my brother's children. he's just a funny dude. He's a funny guy. And I know that going into his marriage with my mom and then starting a family, whether or not it was ever said, like, I know he wanted to make sure that I always heard, I love you.
Exactly.
And that's what we want our children to always know, because at the end of the day, you can't take your money with you. You can't take our Harleys with us, but we may try to figure out a way to do that. But all right, so so some of the things that I learned from my dad, one of the ones that sticks out first and foremost is the 5 Ps. Prior planning prevents pissed parents. I learned that early in life because he's like, because if I was to come at him on a Friday night at 7 o'clock and say, hey, Dad, I really want to go to Skate City. I want to go rollerblade with my bros, which was code for I want to go see some chicks. He'd be like, what time does it start? In an hour? The answer is no. Well, what do you mean the answer is no? Prior planning prevents pissed parents. You should have talked about this. Did you know about this yesterday?
Oh, yeah. I'm trying to think.
But at any rate, what I'm getting after, so I learned that from my dad, right? And the other thing, too, here's the other one, and this, you'll love this, because you know me very well. Mm-hmm. Early is on time. On time is late, and late is unacceptable. Mm-hmm. And if anybody knows me well, they know that even if I think I might be late to something, which still means early, I get anxiety, So I'm always early. And if I ever happen to show up late to something, which is rare, Maddie is not a good Maddie.
Well, at least you learned something.
I learned a lot of stuff from my dad. One of my favorite memories of my dad, we grew up, we didn't have a lot of money. I mean, my parents were always very good with their cash, whatever. And my mom was a very accomplished teacher in high school. My dad was a very accomplished sales manager. I guess that's where I am today. But at any rate, one of the things we did, we took a lot of road trips, and it was such a big deal. Oh, such a big deal to be the navigator. Mom could not sit up front. She doesn't do good with somebody else driving. She doesn't do good, be honest, with her own driving. But sorry, Mom, I love you. So she'd sit in the back and read her 1,000 pages a day or whatever. And I was older than my brother, so I told him to fuck off. And I sit up front with Dad, and we'd have the rolled maps. This is way before Garmin, GPS, TomTom, and all that crap, right? And it was always so cute, because now looking back, I knew what the truth was, Dad. But he'd be like, all right, so, and he'd just be driving like this. He'd be like, all right, so see over here where Highway 75, crosses over with exit 222, and there's going to be a quick trip sign here. So we're going to have to, I need you to find a hotel just this side of the highway. And I'm over here going through all these maps, like, what are you talking about? He's like, it's right over here. He's not even looking at the map. He knows exactly where we're going. And I grew such a love of maps so much so that to this day, I buy myself a Rand McNally U.S. map book every single year. I don't think my parents know that. I still buy one every single year because they've changed the roads so much. They don't. But a lot of things I learned from my dad, Yeah. So we learned a lot of fun stuff from our dad. Anything else you learned from your dad?
But thinking of the road trips, that was one of the things. So we did a lot of hunting and, guy trips like that, and even just going to visit family and things. If you were my dad's navigator, he's driving. He can't sleep, so you can't sleep. Mm-hmm. Even if he knows we're going to be on this next road for the next 97 miles before we get to the next exit, you can't sleep. Like, to the point where if you start to doze or you do go to sleep, he's going to reach over and he's going to mess with your lips. Or he's going to do something. He's going to stick the wet willy.
The wet willy.
I, to this day, cannot stand someone sticking their wet, spitty finger in my ear. Mm-hmm. That just sends me over the edge, completely over the edge. And that's one of the things that he would do if you fell asleep. And believe me, that was every reason in the world for me not to fall asleep.
Yeah.
Was to get that. Or he'd do this thing with your mouth while you're trying to sleep. No, you weren't sleeping. If he had to be awake, you had to be awake.
Right.
That was just the way things were going to be.
Yeah, so exactly.
All right. Yeah, I think we've covered quite a bit of dad stuff, man.
I know, right? We had some great dads. We're great dads. And kudos to you.
You as well.
Yeah, appreciate that. To all the dads out there, it's a grind, right?
Yeah.
It's challenging, and proud of you because, you know, there's a lot of dads out there that are in their children's life. You know, they work hard. They love their kids. They're teaching them good lessons, good life stories, or they're teaching them what not to do. Just kidding.
Well, and you know that same way too. You know, sperm doesn't make you a dad.
No, they put you in debt.
Well, I'm just saying, there's a lot of guys out there, you know, too, that may not have kids of their own, but have stepped up and taken responsibility, and you know, so hats off to you guys as well for stepping in and taking on that role.
Yeah.
So
dads got a lot of love. A lot of love. So, you know, I think in the true spirit of Father's Day and us being dads with our dad bods.
Oh, I've got a huge dad bod.
Right there with you. I'm working on mine. That's what she said, exactly. I think we have some dad jokes. Are we going to share some?
We'll share a few, and then we'll wrap things up. And
let's do it. Let's do it. All right, you want to do 3 each?
Yeah, we can do 3 each. Are we trying to like crack each other up, or are we just trying to? What are we doing here?
Yes, we were trying to crack each other up.
I'm going to go first.
Okay.
So, Matt, we just found out that Grandpa is now addicted to Viagra.
Is that right?
Yeah. Nobody's taking it harder than Grandma.
And she is a taker. She's a team player, too, your grandma. Right. God rest her soul, I'm going to guess at this point. All right. Andy, what did the toaster say to the slice of bread?
Don't know.
I want you inside me.
Okay, that's a pretty good one. I did like that one. That was good. I had another one here that I was going to... a sperm donor. That's already cracking you up, isn't it?
A little bit.
A sperm donor, a carpenter, and Julius Caesar walk into a bar. He came. He saw. He conquered.
All right. 2 men broke into a drugstore and stole all the Viagra.
Okay.
Apparently that was you and me. The police put out an all alert to be on the lookout for 2 hardened criminals.
Oh, that was good. I really had another good one here that I was going to... Let me see. Did you hear about the guy who dipped his testicles in glitter?
No.
It's pretty nuts.
Pretty nuts. That would be some pretty nuts.
Pretty nuts.
Yeah. Okay. So, Andy, they say that during sex you burn off as many calories as running 8 miles. Who the hell runs 8 miles in 30 seconds?
Okay, that was pretty funny.
We live in a pool of dad jokes, don't we?
Yeah,
We sure do. A lot of good stuff there for sure. So coming up, we got some shows coming up. We actually have some guests.
We do. We've actually got, so it's been interesting because, and I know this is only show number 2, but we do have some upcoming guests. So we did confirm with the guys that I've worked on the VR game with. They're actually in Europe, and Red Horizon, they're the VR game developers. They have agreed to come on the show and talk to us about the release of Black Trails that's coming out. I also today talked to Santiago Vasquez. He is an actor here in Kansas City, 7th degree black belt in karate.
And this guy does the Van Damme splits too, right?
At one point in time, he could. I'm assuming he still can. There was actually a picture of him in the pitch doing that, like 1 foot on a chair, another foot on a chair, doing the splits, and like, hurrah. So he's had quite the resume of movies that have gone to Sundance and South by Southwest and several different ones, and has a new one coming out. So he would love to be on the show. Great. And he's local, so we can actually
we'll get him in
here face to face.
Right.
Andrew and Aaron Marks out of Alaska. They are documentary filmmakers. They have a show called Hunting the Kazna. And talk to them about some of their past experiences with some of the major networks that they've been involved with, and what they are working on now. Andrew is the videographer, and he records the adventures of Aaron and Levi, and I think Aaron's nephew as well on some hunts. And
Interesting.
so very looking forward to talking to them and seeing what they have coming up down the road. And then we've got another one as well.
Got a couple. Yeah, I've got somebody that I've known for several decades that is in the lifestyle swinger, I guess. And that's very much a foreign subject to me and always will be. But there's a lot of myths around that, I think, a lot of misnomers, a lot of assumptions.
Pineapples?
And the pineapple thing. Yeah.
Is that a real thing?
Well, I think, I don't know what that's all about. We're going to find out.
I was going to say, that's
we're
what
going to find out very, very soon.
Exactly.
It's going to be interesting. Yeah. And then I don't know if we're going to have her on or not, but we have a Twitter star, I guess is the soft way I'm going to put that.
We haven't broached that subject yet.
Yeah.
Possibly.
Yeah. Who else do we have?
That's the list I have.
So far, so good. Yeah. We have a potential MMA friend of mine that may come on here in the near future. And we're always looking for feedback as far as shows that we can have for you guys and girls, right? We want to make sure that we can provide some good notes as far as, what it's like to be, over 40 and a guy, and USA. And girls, if you're looking for some insights into us guys, message us, right?
Yeah, topics, thoughts, critiques. We want to hear it all. This show's for you guys.
Yeah.
So, we're idiots and we're talking about our idiotic lives, but we'd like to be able to cater to you guys and what you want to hear.
Yeah.
If there's people you want us to reach out to and try to get in here on the show, if there's other podcasters you listen to that we could cross collaborate with, we'd love to try to connect with them as well.
Absolutely.
There's actually a pretty good network of that involved. So, but yeah, this is all about you guys. Nothing's out of bounds.
Mm-hmm.
So throw something out.
Yeah, totally agree. So for more tantalizing, titillating, right?
Okay.
Let me try that one again. I've been drinking a little bit. For more tantalizing and titillating, Barstool Breakdowns, conversations, queries, enigmas, and topics, make sure you follow us on TikTok, Instagram, Spotify, YouTube, all at Barstool Breakdowns.
You're such a linguist. Is that right?
I'm a cunning linguist.
Jeez Louise.
I know.
That
was a jab at my something. I don't know. But do follow us. Comment, like, and share. We love that thumbs up sign, right?
So glad I'm here to be like the straight man.
Okay.
You know what I mean.
Self-proclaimed.
Okay.
Right there, Mr. Andy. So, Andy, it's been another good episode. Great to be in your presence again. You're welcome. This is good.
You guys have no idea what it's like to have this guy involved in your life every single day.
Every single day. Well, I've got two ex-wives I can tell you.
I'm not saying it's a blessing at all.
Oh, yes, it is, sweetie. Yeah.
Good dude. All right. Thank you, guys. We appreciate it. Like, share, subscribe. Please, please, please. We thank you for everything you do. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah. Happy Father's Day to you.
Happy Father's Day, bud. Happy Father's Day to all you.
Absolutely.
Thanks again.